The question is that this House do now adjourn. Mr. Gavin Robinson.
Madam Deputy Speaker, thank you kindly. I am very grateful for this opportunity.
Order. Order. Other honourable members don't stand up in their places when a member is speaking. Mr. Gavin Robinson.
Madam Deputy Speaker, apologies. I thought I had stepped out of place there and I'd done something wrong. So I'm very grateful to you, and very grateful to have the opportunity to raise what is an important consumer issue that affects individuals' rights across the United Kingdom, but most particularly in Northern Ireland, the Isle of Man, the Channel Isles and the Highlands and Islands of Scotland. I am indeed indebted to Keelan McCloskey in the gallery above from the Consumer Council for Northern Ireland and David Moyes of Consumer Affairs Scotland for all their hard work on this issue. And I want to thank the Minister this evening for being prepared to respond and recognise that this issue is one which will require continued and a concerted effort to bring the changes required to bring a level playing field to consumers right across the United Kingdom. On the 30th of June, Deputy Madam Speaker, I raised a question for the Biz Minister, and I asked, has the Secretary of State had an opportunity to consider last week's report from the Northern Ireland Consumer Council, which highlights the barriers to online consumers getting postage to Northern Ireland, the islands or the Highlands of the United Kingdom, and what steps can the Secretary of State take to create, dare I say it, a one-nation consumer market where the inhibitors and the barriers are removed once and for all? In response, I was delighted to hear from the Secretary of State. I have not yet had an opportunity to look at the report, but now that I have raised it, the Secretary of State indicated he certainly would do so, and shall then be able to respond on this important issue. He indicated that I may be interested to know, Madam Deputy Speaker, that day, on the 30th of June, it had been reported consumer confidence throughout the United Kingdom had hit a 15-year high, which means the government's long-term economic plan was working. Well, I'm delighted that consumer confidence was at a 15-year high, but I suspect that the following figures that I seek to rely on from the Consumer Council of Northern Ireland's report are just not as encouraging to read. Mr. Speaker, when a constituent of mine contacted me about online purchase, he explained how initially delighted he was to read that not only had he found a good deal online from a reputable site, but that delivery was advertised as free in the UK. It was only at the final pay page he discovered that free delivery he had been promised was for mainland UK only, and that to proceed with the purchase he was required to pay an additional £5.99. Unclear as to whether this was an isolated issue, another constituent who works in East Belfast explained that he had faced a similar problem. Using eBay on this occasion, the inducement of free UK postage and packaging was quickly withdrawn when he supplied his postcode. To proceed with the purchase, he had to phone the retailer directly and agree a fee of £14, representing an additional 10% of the item cost.
I wonder if the honourable gentleman will give way. Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker, and I'm grateful for the honourable gentleman for giving way and also for bringing this most important debate, which has rightly been said by the honourable member for Belfast East, affects constituencies right across the United Kingdom, but certainly in the Highlands of Scotland has been said. I noticed today that there's a survey from Citizen Advice Scotland that's been published that shows that average delivery prices across the UK have increased from £4.99 to £5.01 over the last 3 years, in real terms a decline in prices. Yet over the same time, the average Highland surcharge over and above that has increased from £12.10 to £14.23. When we consider that online shopping is 15% of the retail market in the UK, consumers in the rural areas are facing a massive increased cost to participate in this growing market. Does the honourable member agree with me that the government must protect consumers in rural areas from being exploited, and that as a first step by a revision of the universal service obligation to take into account the growing importance of parcel delivery in the modern world?
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. And of course I do agree with the honourable member. And I think, Madam Deputy Speaker, perhaps uniquely in my short experience in this chamber, this adjournment debate has struck some interest from the more peripheral parts of the United Kingdom. And I don't wish to be mean or unkind, Madam Deputy Speaker, but I do think it's important that I don't accept interventions across the chamber, so I get the opportunity to put forward the points that I wish to make. I should also indicate that the honourable member for Romsford, Andrew Rosendale, who is the chair of the Isle of Man, and I accept, I accept what I did, for the all-parliamentary party working group on the Isle of Man, the Channel Isles and so on, has taken a keen interest in this issue, and I am grateful to members across the chamber who have highlighted the importance. The Consumer Council for Northern Ireland, following their survey, indicated that 33% of online retailers apply a delivery exclusion to Northern Ireland. That can include higher costs for delivery, longer times, or indeed the refusal to offer a service at all. Other peripheral areas of the UK face high exclusion rates: 42% in the Channel Isles, 38% in the Isle of Man, and 31% in the Scottish Highlands and Islands. But regrettably and astoundingly, Northern Ireland as a whole stands at 33%, in stark contrast to the rest of the UK, with 3% for the entirety of Scotland and Wales, and only 1% for the entirety of England. Half of all online retailers in the United Kingdom fail to offer the same delivery options across this country. 17% refuse to deliver at all, 20% apply higher costs, and 18% take much longer to deliver. £10 is the average one-off cost when free delivery is withdrawn. So whilst we have an advertised free UK postage and package, £10 is the average additional cost levied on a Northern Ireland consumer. And an additional £2.71 is sought when the standard price for delivery is unavailable for us. Now, of course, Madam Deputy Speaker, it's easy to try and explain a reason for this indeed, and I'll not use the vocabulary that was contained within this tweet, but this evening, Madam Deputy Speaker, when I announced that this adjournment debate had been accepted and we had the opportunity to raise this issue in Parliament, I got a rather caustic reply that said, well, of course it's more expensive, you live on an island, what do you expect? And of course that goes some way to understand what the nature of the issues are, but it doesn't answer and it doesn't resolve the frustration for local consumers. Unlike letters, for example, there is no universal regulated service for parcels. Standard delivery operators prefer to offer their services in densely populated and urban areas. And in offering retailers a contract price, they limit their own costs. And of course, no one is forced to proceed with their purchase should the terms not be attractive.
On that point, will the gentleman take an intervention?
Very, very quickly.
Okay. I'm very grateful to the honourable gentleman for allowing me to intervene. So, as was mentioned, Citizens Advice Scotland today published a report highlighting that over 1 million people in rural Scotland are not only still suffering the inequity of delivery surcharges, but these delivery surcharges are still increasing. Taking into account inflation, delivery costs are now 10% higher than they were 3 years ago. People in the Highlands and Islands are paying more for deliveries. Does the honourable gentleman agree that this punishing difference in cost must not be allowed to continue?
Yes, I do, and I think I sought to outline, Madam Deputy Speaker, some of the reasons why that may be. But I do think there is a role for government, and I think that's why this adjournment debate is so important. There is a substantive unfairness in leading a consumer through the entire process of purchase, only to levy a charge at the final stage. Unfairness, Madam Deputy Speaker, and I suspect slightly illegal as well. The first obvious issue that's engaged is the Unfair Trading Regulations 2008, when someone is enticed into a sale that includes, as part of the terms, free postage and packaging in the UK, only to find that that offer should be reneged when a postcode is provided. I'd be interested in the Minister's view as to whether he does believe that that is a misleading inducement. Secondly, there is a contractual issue with the delivery agent only. Yes, sir.
I congratulate my honourable Senate colleague on bringing this matter forward to the House for consideration. I often wondered, as I'm sure the honourable member wonders as well, that do people know that they have a 14-day cooling off period? And if they don't, Is it not time perhaps that the government and its department set about educating people of their rights?
I'm grateful to the honourable member, Madam Deputy Speaker, and I think it's an important point. 72% of consumers in Northern Ireland are unaware that there is a cooling off period available to them. So if they make a purchase and they're not happy with the terms, they have 14 days in which to return it and to recoup their costs. But that leads to the issue about postal itself. The relationship for the consumer is with the retailer and the retailer only. The retailer has a consequential relationship with the service agent. Only 1 in 10 consumers are aware of that relationship. So 9 out of 10 consumers from Northern Ireland are unaware of how best they should either return an item, how best they could seek a refund, and who it is they should speak to should that issue arise. And similar contractual conundrums, Madam Deputy Speaker, exist in the tourism sector. But of course, anything purchased through an ABTA registered travel agent is protected as a global package. And I believe there may indeed be merit in the Minister considering what better protections could be available for consumers in this country. Most importantly, Parliament transposed the Consumer Contracts Information, Cancellation and Additional Charges regulations last year, and they eliminate hidden charges and promote price transparency for distance and off-site sales. I very much suspect, Madam Deputy Speaker, that the Minister will indicate that a process of education is required and may move toward that as a solution. Can I respectfully urge the Minister that whilst that would be a wonderful initiative, it may just not be enough. I've mentioned the both trading standards issue around false representation on UK free post and package and the need for holistic controls similar to that applying to travel agents, and would welcome education. But the issue of mis-selling and unfair terms of postage relates primarily to smaller retailers and independent traders. They use sites as a medium such as eBay and Amazon, and there is no reason why large commercial organisations like that should not live up to the spirit and the letter of the regulations on behalf of those small independent retailers who use their site. I wonder whether the Minister would consider mandating those organisations who provide the online medium for retailers to make sure that they, on behalf of the retailers, live up to the legislation. And, Madam Deputy Speaker, I do just want to again thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for this debate. Thank all of those who have taken the opportunity to come into the Chamber and to support what is an important consumer issue, and one which leads to a great deal of frustration for someone who lives, whether it's Northern Ireland, the Channel Isles, the Isle of Man, the Highlands and Islands of Scotland, leads to a great deal of frustration. 40%, 39% I think the figure is, from Northern Ireland perspective, refuse to go through if the purchase won't go back to the site. But if we are interested in that one nation consumer market, if we do believe that retailers who offer free postage and package in the UK should provide it and deliver it, then I do believe, and I hope we can work together, the Minister and members on this side of the Chamber, to see just how best we can redress the balance and give consumers the best chance to avail of those offers that they seek. Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker.